Now let's be honest. The insanity of 2020 is not the only reason why it's difficult to prioritize your own self-care. If you hang on to the end of this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how you can revolutionize your own health, body, business, relationships, and life in less than 30 seconds a day. Most people have experienced or can imagine the difference in the stress from having an empty bank account versus the ease and flow that comes with financial stability or a full bank account. But did you know that the symptoms of an empty health account are just as obvious and just as uncomfortable as an empty bank account? You're just 10 times more likely to ignore it because we have been taught to prioritize our wallets and ignore our health. The cliche quotes exist for a reason. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If I have an empty water jug and I'm trying to fill an empty cup, I'm not going to get very far. But if I have a full water jug, then I have enough abundance to fill the empty cup in front of me and still have plenty of resources left over for my own stability and my own growth. You cannot run on an empty tank. If you've ever run out of gas, you know it does not matter how hard you wish the car would keep moving or how hard you step on that gas pedal, because the tank is empty. This is exactly the same as your self-care. If you're burned out because your self-care tank is empty, the car, the vehicle of your life is going to slow down and stop moving, or you're going to experience chaos in all of the other areas of your life. If you've ever ridden on an airplane, you know that in case of an emergency, you're supposed to secure your own air mask before helping those around you who may need assistance. If you have not managed your resources appropriately, when you go to try to help others, you're really just contributing to the chaos and causing more imbalance as someone else now needs to assist you. Imagine what it feels like when your bank account goes into the red, or if you woke up one day and all of your accounts were empty. Think of how much stress and anxiety that would cause. It's the exact same as when your health account goes into the red and your self-care tank is empty. And I'm going to teach you a really easy way to recognize where your energy is going. I want to teach you a new way to identify how much energy you actually have in a day and how you're using it. So let's imagine that you only have 10 spoons of energy per day. It might take 3 to 4 spoons just to get up and make sure your dishes are done, your clothes are clean, and now you have to go to work. That might be another 6 or 7 spoons. On top of that, you probably have pets or family members that need your attention. Hopefully, you're beginning to see just how easy it potentially is to run out of energy spoons before you've even finished all of your responsibilities for the day. That's why self-care is so important. And it's no wonder that so many adults want to just go home and binge Netflix at the end of the day because they're burned out. They don't have the physical, mental, or emotional capacity for anything else in their day. And that's why I created this free PDF to help you take back your power to thrive in your health, business, and life by mastering your self-care deposits. You can head over to thelymmphdoctor.com and print your free download today. I'm going to show you exactly how to use it, so let's jump right in. The first page is your self-care deposits list. Let's focus on the left-hand column for right now. Under self-care activities, you want to list at least 30 items that you already do or want to incorporate for your own self-care. They can be simple, like taking your vitamins in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Or they can be more intense, like going to hot flow yoga for an hour. The point of this worksheet is to completely customize it to where you're at right now. What do you love to do? What do you want to do more of? What routines or habits are really important for your health right now? Notice this is a self-care list. This is not your to-do list. Now you might notice that on number 6, I actually have my to-do list. I'm going to explain that in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the column on the right-hand side, the points value system. Now, the way that you determine your point value for each of your self-care activities is by considering two main concepts. The first is how big is the investment required of you? How much time, energy, or money does it take to complete that activity? The second is how much benefit do you get? How big are the rewards for you once that activity is completed? The bigger the investment or the more benefit, the higher the points value. As an example, it's really easy for me to take my vitamins 3 times a day, so that's only worth 1 point each for me. But right now, I'm focusing on my tooth health, and so I have specific supplements for that. So I've bumped that up to 2 points each. Hot flow yoga is a bigger investment. It's an hour-long class. I have to drive there and back and pay for the class. But I get a lot out of it, so that's worth 3 points to me. It's really important to make sure that the point value you've assigned to your self-care activity matches. As an example, if I'm taking my vitamins 3 times a day, but I'm only giving myself 1 point, it's going to be really easy for me to start making excuses and not take my vitamins the second and third time. Instead, I give myself 1 point for each time that I take them. Now, as I mentioned, this list is not about writing down your to-do list. However, the exception to that is looking at number 6, where I've actually listed my to-do list on here, and I've given it a point of 1 point per item. That means I give myself 1 point for every item that I check off my to-do list. The reason this makes it onto the self-care activities list is because if you have a long to-do list of things that you're procrastinating or putting off, then it builds a lot of mental and emotional stress and anxiety. So, in order to keep that mental and emotional self-care in check, we go ahead and give ourselves credit for each of the items that we're able to check off of our to-do list. I want you to think of this part of the worksheet just like your bank statement. Just like your bank compiles a list every month of all of the deposits made into your accounts, that's exactly what this sheet is for. This is where you're going to make your 30-second a day investment so that you can take back your power to thrive in your health, body, business, relationships, and life. These 4 squares are going to help you stay organized and on track. The first square is just where you write the month and the year. Your second square, the D is for daily, W is for weekly, and M is for monthly. You're going to decide what your self-care goal is for the day. How many points do you want to deposit into your self-care bank account every day? You're just going to pick a goal that feels right for you. As an example, I've picked a daily goal of 25 points. If I times 25 by 7, that gives me a weekly goal of 175. There's 31 days this month, so if I times 25 by 31, that gives me a monthly goal of 775 self-care points. The third box includes a space for you to choose your own affirmation or mantra for the month, and you can go ahead and just write that in that space there. Now you'll notice that the fourth box is blank. That's because December is just getting started, and we don't fill this box out until the very end of the month. Now you'll notice that the square is just not big enough to write the full name of everything that you've listed under your self-care activities. So I just use the initials, and this is how I keep track. So on December 1st, these are the activities that I did. You'll notice at the bottom it says 8 TDL. That's where I checked off 8 items on my to-do list. So that's worth 8 points. Now, using my list as a reference sheet, I can add up how many points I deposited this day. I just write that in the bottom corner and I circle that number. So on December 1st, I made a total deposit of 20 self-care points. Now 20 points is a little bit less than my daily goal of 25 points, But that's okay, because at least I'm keeping track and I know what's going on. And it motivates me to want to make up those extra 5 points somewhere else later in the week or later in the month. The reason it's important to use initials and not just write the points value is because over a longer period of time, you can compare your different worksheets and track your self-care habits. You might notice that this month it's a lot easier for you to stick to taking your vitamins in the morning, but maybe next month you have a hard time taking your vitamins at all. Recognizing these patterns over time is crucial to maintaining a healthy relationship and account balance with your self-care bank account. I didn't do it on this example, but I highly recommend, in parentheses next to your self-care activity, just jot down the initials that you're going to use on the calendar. That way, when you look back 6, 12, 18 months in the future, you're able to easily decipher and understand the patterns that are happening for you. If you look at the first 2 weeks on this slide, you'll notice that I have circles on the first 6 days of the week, and on the 7th day, I have a square. That's because I circle how many points were deposited at the end of the day, and then I put a square around my weekly totals. As an example, using December, I would add the weekly totals from the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th, and then I would make sure to add on the daily totals for the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. And then when I have the total of self-care points that I've deposited for the month, I can write that in that lower right-hand square. Once you get the hang of how to fill out this worksheet, it takes less than 30 seconds a day to get a bird's eye view of what is actually happening in your self-care bank accounts. This exercise is great because it works for people from all walks of life. Maybe you love finances and crunching numbers. Then thinking about this like a bank account will really work for you. Maybe you're obsessed with video games. If you start thinking about your self-care deposits like you would think about the health points of your video game characters, you can really take back your power to thrive in your own experience. It is my goal to help you get the most results in the least amount of time with the least amount of investment. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all of the notifications for this YouTube channel so that you never miss out on any of my revolutionary self-care tips, tricks, and resources. Start prioritizing your self-care by heading over to thelymmphdoctor.com right now and getting your free PDF download so that you can start getting your own results today.